All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So, look, it's week 9, and the Jets are going to be taking on the Indianapolis Colts tomorrow night. It's a short week. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this game. I love primetime football, and I feel like right now Jets fans have a lot of questions. Number one, how will this Jets team respond after coming off of the best win, the best game of the season? Number two, how will Mike White look in his on-court performance, right? I mean, he was obviously electric. He just won Player of the Week, over 400 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, completed 37 balls. I mean, Mike White was just tremendous. Yes, he did have 2 picks, but one of them, to be honest with you, I didn't mind either interception. One of them just bounced directly off of Michael Carter's helmet. Mike White was dominant, and it was so much fun to watch. Number 3, what will the play calling look like? Mike LaFleur obviously last week was in the box for the first time all season, and I felt like he did a masterful job of calling the game. The offense was in rhythm. I felt like they did a really good job of keeping the Bengals defense off balance all day. There was a clear effort to target the playmakers. I also felt like they added in a lot of creativity. It was almost like watching the New England Patriots offense with all of the trick plays, with all of the short passing. I mean, it was just a treat to watch. So we have a ton of questions here, but we're going to be taking on a Colts team that right now, yes, their record might not say they're one of the best teams in the league, but from a talent perspective, the Colts have guys. I mean, I think Carson Wentz has been great this season. 14 passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions, just under 2,000 passing yards with a 62.2 completion percentage. I think Carson has looked great so far. I don't really feel like there's a huge drop off from last year with Rivers to this season with Carson Wentz. They obviously have wide receivers with T.Y. Hilton and Michael Pittman, who's really burst onto the scene. Jonathan Taylor, a complete tank. Mo Alley Cox, big fan of. Their offensive line is getting healthy. I really like this Colts offense. I really feel like the issues on offense are more so associated with play calling and execution as opposed to not having enough talent, being outmanned by other teams. I really feel like this Colts offense is just a sleeping giant. It's going to take a couple weeks, but once they get going, they're going to be hard to stop. Defensively, you can't say enough about Darius Leonard. I mean, he's arguably the best linebacker in the entire National Football League. Kenny Moore, one of my favorite players in the league. DeForest Buckner, try stopping him on a one-on-one matchup. He's a mauler. It's a complete nightmare. And we're going to get into Buckner in just a second because I feel like he can definitely be an X factor, especially when we look at who he's going to be playing against at right guard. But we'll get into that in a second. I mean, man, this Colts team has talent offensively and defensively. You look at Kwity Paye. Yes, he's raw, but he still has tremendous power. You're just kind of waiting for that breakout game for Kwity. Who else? Okereke at linebacker, a solid piece there. Stewart on the inside of the defensive line. And on top of that, they have a ton of players banged up, right? Tons of players on IR. Tyquan Lewis, edge. TJ Carey, another really good player. Julian Blackmon. I mean, this Colts team, man, I really view this team as a ticking time bomb. You're just waiting for this team to explode. You feel like it's going to happen at some point sooner rather than later, but we just haven't really seen that. I mean, yes, this team has 3 wins on the year, but they haven't really had that notable big time win. They beat Houston, they beat Miami. I would say beating San Francisco is probably their marquee win, but they have a lot of losses against good teams like Seattle and the Rams. Can this Colts team compete? I feel like they can. It's just a matter of when this team will wake up. When they wake up, it'll be a nightmare. So as far as this game against the Jets is concerned, what can this Jets offense do to have success against this banged up Colts defense? I feel like really the name of the game should be not trying to reinvent the wheel. Try to go into the game with the same ideas last week, getting the ball out of Mike White's hands quickly and efficiently, targeting the playmakers, getting guys like Elijah Moore the football, Denzel Mims the football, Michael Carter. Michael Carter burst onto the scene last week, not only just in the run game, but also in the pass game. I mean, he was electric. Can we try to, not necessarily saying do the same exact thing, but have the same idea? Have the same idea. Don't go in trying to push the ball aggressively and try to shake things up. No, just be efficient. Control the clock. I mean, last week we won in passing, rushing, time of possession, total plays, and total yards. That's 5 key aspects. The reason why we were so successful on offense was because we were efficient. I mean, we were putting the ball in play. We were controlling the clock. We were taking what the defense gave us. We weren't afraid to check it down. One area that I'm kind of concerned about in this game, and we touched on it before, is interior pass rush. DeForest Buckner going up against guys like Greg Van Roten, Connor McGovern. To be honest with you, I'm a little nervous for that matchup. I'm weary of it. Okay, so I feel like a huge key, an underrated key for this game is blocking from the running back position, being able to come down and help out if one of those guards, if the center gets beat by one of these monster defensive linemen, or if Eberflus sends blitzes with their linebackers up the middle, which is something that he's prone to do. So the blocking from the running back position, to me, has to be there. It has to be there to give Mike White just that extra second, that extra half second to where he can stand in there and deliver a pass. Mike White was poised in that game against Cincinnati. If the running back position can't block and our offensive line is leaking, right, guys are getting home, it could be a long day offensively, and you never want to continue to give the ball back to a team with tons of offensive talent, tons of offensive firepower. Another area where the Colts defense is successful is in the run game. I mean, they're 8th in yards per rush, and they're number 1 in the league in rushing touchdowns allowed. Okay, so this team can stop the run. How will the Jets fare against that? How will we combat that? Quick pitches, pitch plays to the outside. We'll see what happens there, but I definitely don't. Yes, again, the Colts, they're under 500. They only have 3 wins on the year. The Jets have 2 wins, but I don't want to sleep on this Colts team. I feel like it's going to be a massive challenge. As far as the Jets defense is concerned, I think the name of the game should be trying to slow down Jonathan Taylor in the pass game. I mean, everybody knows Taylor's, he's a great player. He could run the ball, he could catch the ball, he's effective with the ball in his hands, he's a good blocker. He's going to be a staple for the Colts offense for years to come. But when Carson Wentz is efficient and he's firing those passes underneath, right, the quick passing, the slants, the checkdowns, the screens, stuff like that, when Carson isn't really pressing, he kind of has the same problem as Zach Wilson a little bit, where sometimes he might not take those underneath passes and he will look for the big play. This season, he has done a much better job with him as opposed to, you know, back with Philadelphia. But at times, Carson has took those chances downfield. He has passed up on some opportunities. And by the way, last week he threw 2 interceptions. Not only did the Colts just lose, but you could tell Carson Wentz, I mean, it really affected him. Those 2 interceptions were costly, huge turnovers. So I assume that there will be a pretty big emphasis on Carson taking care of the football, not making critical mistakes. If this team is in the red zone, essentially not taking points off of the board, not putting their defense in a bad spot, bad situation on the field. So limiting the stuff underneath, making sure Jonathan Taylor is always accounted for. Keep this in mind. Carson Wentz only has 3 picks on the year, and that spans over 2 games. Both games they lost. So if this Jets defense can snag a couple of turnovers, I think we'll be in a great position, although I don't want to say, oh, we need to get turnovers to win, because that's a very difficult thing to do. And quite frankly, the Jets defense hasn't really had tons of success in the interception category. I will say this, I felt like the young cornerback room for the Jets last week against the Bengals had a solid day. I'm talking about guys like Michael Carter, Bryce Hall, who else? Brandon Eccles. He really came onto the scene. It was a big task. You know, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase. I mean, Joe Burrow, quarterback. The Bengals are stacked, and the Jets, they stepped up to the plate, they came out, and they did their thing. So if this Jets cornerback room can duplicate or carry some of that success over on a short week against the Colts, I feel like it could bode well. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. It's going to be an interesting game. Again, I feel like the Colts are a sleeping giant. They only have 3 wins on the year, but I'm just waiting for this Colts team to turn it on. I feel like they definitely have the not only just the talent, but the potential to do that. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jets.